So, hello there, everybody. I asked Jesus what he wanted to do with the rest of our day, and he said it's testimony time. I'm going to be telling the testimony about how our family got out of the occult, and how I had gotten into witchcraft to become a white witch, and some of our experiences with demons and witches and warlocks and magic, and how we got free and out thanks to Jesus Christ. And also, one reason I don't celebrate Halloween is because my family comes from 7 generations of witches and warlocks, and my grandfather was the high priest in our area over 13 cities. And so my mother was lined up to be a high priestess in the occult, and she was trained since birth. She was dedicated at birth to Satan by her two Satanist parents, because my grandparents were devout Satanists. And she told me horror stories of having to go to rituals, having to do late night vigils, human and baby sacrifices, and just all kinds of torment and torture. They used to lock her up in basements, and just do hideous things to her. And so at 13, she ended up running away from her two occultist parents, saying, I don't want this life. I'm being abused too much. And she ended up running away and finding a job at 15, thanks to her Christian boyfriend. And eventually, my mother got saved when I was 7. But so both my grandparents, I did not know them. My mother did not want us to know them because they were involved in the occult. And my grandfather, like I said, was a high priest over 13 cities. So our family was leaders and rulers in the occult, but it involved a lot of torment and a lot of sacrifices. She told me one time that she had to see her stepdad, eat the heart of a baby that he had just killed and things like that. So when my mother got saved at 7, one thing she wanted to do was help other witches and warlocks who had a similar experience in satanic ritual abuse, get free and get out. And for many, many, many years, over a decade, my mother would work with witches, would work with warlocks, would work on deliverance ministry, because a lot of these witches and warlocks were powered up by demons. Magic is real, you guys. Magic is not just some fake fantasy stuff. There are real witches, there are real warlocks who meet in the midnight hours. If you don't know this, the witching hours are from midnight to 3 a.m. Most witches and warlocks are active during that time. And so there are real witches, real warlocks that conjure up demons, that do evil things to make hordes of demons happy and power them up, so that they can then use these demonic powers, or AKA magic, to do evil or to do harm to people that they wish or that they desire or that they are commanded to by their leaders. So this is also one reason I do not and never have celebrate Halloween, because my family ran deep into the cult, and my mother was the first one to get free in the area, and it was a very big thing for us. When she found out that her stepfather was still involved as the high priest of the occult, she got us all together in the car at 6 or 7 years old, and 2 cult men came and tried to play chicken with my mom, saying, like heck, you're getting out of the cult with your kids. And so my mom had to play chicken with 2 cult members to get us out of the city and get us away from the occult. So it ain't no joke. Halloween is the highest holy holiday of Satanists in the year. They have many throughout the year. All the full moons they're celebrating, but especially in October, Halloween, they be celebrating it to conjure up demons. There are human sacrifices, and a lot of people are being tortured and tormented in caves, in forests, in dark places, in underground bunkers. My mother has seen it all with her own eyes, and she was able to tell us, hey, don't have nothing to do with witchcraft. So what do I do? What do I do once my mother, I see all this? At some point at 15, 13, 15, I had walked away from Christ. I said, maybe my mom is cuckoo. I don't think all this stuff is real. So what do? I decided I want to be a white witch when I was like 17. And so I bought tarot cards. I started reading people's palms and reading tarot cards and reading their future, and they would be very accurate. I then sent out a psychic message that I wanted to be part of the occult and part of a coven. And better believe, within the next 3 weeks, I had witches and warlocks and covens approaching me saying, would you like to be part of our coven? This is what we can offer. This is what we do. And I was shocked because I didn't think my little psychic call worked. And when it did, I was like, well, this stuff is real. So I started getting deeper into witchcraft. I wanted to be a white witch. I didn't want to hurt nobody, but witchcraft is witchcraft. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a white witch or a black witch. So, I started celebrating the solstices. I started hanging out with other witches, other warlocks. Even once, I was really hurting in my soul, and this warlock and this witch could pick up on that. And they came and prayed for me. And I actually got healed, but it was through magic or satanic power. And so, and that reminds me of a story where my mom was on a plane. And my mom was ministering to a witch that was sitting next to her. And she was telling her, yeah, I have a healing ministry of the Holy Spirit. And the witch looked at her and said, witches heal too, honey. And so this is no game. If you look back to the times of Moses and the magicians, when he had to convince Pharaoh to let the Israelites go, the magicians were able to conjure up with the magic art and mimic 3 of the 10 plagues. So magic is real, demons are real, demonic power is real. They're rendered powerless if you have Christ, but if you don't have Christ and you're conjuring them up, they do have power. And so when I had got involved in the occult and I was running with witches and warlocks, pentagrams and all that stuff, getting into Wicca, one day, by the mercy of God, God opened my spiritual eyes, and I could see demons running all throughout my city. I could hear them laughing at me. I began to run. I couldn't sleep for many, many days because my spiritual eyes were open all of a sudden at 17 when I had got into witchcraft. I ran into warlocks who kidnapped me and took me to a ritual. And I endured torture there. So it ain't no joke. That's one reason I'm so against Halloween. And I don't celebrate Halloween. And we as Christians should not celebrate Halloween. Because it's an evil, evil holiday. And it does lift up the things of Satan. And so, it's very, very important that we don't mix with the world. Because during this time when I had got involved in the occult, I tried to run into a trailer, you guys. And there was a horde of shadowy figures circling my trailer and shaking the trailer I was sleeping in. And so I went outside to see who was doing that, and was no one there. Okay, so I knew it was a horde of demons because I was at least raised in the ways of the Lord. And I could at least identify, okay, dark shadow demon. And I started crying out to Jesus Christ around 17, 18, 19 when this started to happen. So, this is no joke. We should not be celebrating Halloween. This is one reason I'm giving my testimony. I used to be an ex-witch, wanting to walk in the powers of witchcraft, and I saw real magic manifest. I've done exorcisms on witches and warlocks and seen demons make things manifest and possess a person. One time my mom got delivered of a demon before she knew Christ. She got delivered of a spirit of anorexia. And this demon had lifted her up by her neck and pinned her to the wall, and she had the bruises of a hand. It's no joke. Also, my friend is having poltergeist activity currently, and it's lifting up her hair and stuff because there's a lot of strife, and they're not very devout Christians. And you could see a shadowy hand lifting up her hair. So I tell you all this as a testimony that Jesus can save. Jesus is the way. Get away from the dark arts, from magic, from any satanic holiday that they celebrate. It is not worth it. And as a Christian, we should have nothing to do with Harry Potter, the ways of witchcraft, Halloween. It doesn't matter. Get all witchcraft, get Halloween out of your house. Stop worshiping and adoring demonic and devilish holidays. It's a real thing. Okay, I hope that testimony blessed y'all. Bye.